All right, we should be live pretty quick. And there we are. Yay! I believe we are live. Are we? Hello? Anybody?
We're live.
There we go.
Beckler's are on.
Remember to invite people.
And Adam's on.
Okay, well, I gotta find you guys. There we go. There we are. I still have opportunity to improve my technical skills. And that's okay. It's all good. All right. I'm just pulling us up on Facebook itself. And hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of High5 Live. And I'm super excited to spend some time with all of you all and with my High5 team and High5 family out there in Facebook land. I'm still looking for my Facebook feed here. And let's jump in. So for those of you on Facebook, would love to hear about what you would like to talk about tonight. And actually, so I'm going to spring something on my friends over there in Chicagoland that I thought would be a fun topic to start with tonight. And that might be some learnings that we got from the whole gizmo escape.
Gizmo Gate.
The great Gizmo Caper.
Oh, the great Gizmo Caper. Wow, I'm going to talk tonight.
Because words.
Because words, exactly. Yeah, you know, can you give a short version for everybody about the whole gizmo story? And then I'd like to talk about some of our learnings from that as well, because I think it's a perfect segue into a couple of things I'd like to talk about tonight. So,
all right, I would absolutely.
Are we frozen?
Are we? Hi, can you hear us? Are we good? Are we there?
All right, you froze up for a second.
Okay. So let's see. The brief version is that 6 weeks ago, our cat ran away. We saw, heard absolutely nothing, hide nor hair of this critter for 6 weeks. And then one night we got a call saying, hey, your cat's here. And it was a friend of ours who knew him, and we went and we saw him, and sure enough, it was our cat, or at least it looked like our cat, 6 weeks in the wild. So this was a cat that was gizmo, woe out and toe up. So we took this cat and we took it to the vet to get it healthy and looked over, have the doctor give him a once over. And then that very next day, so after the cat's been taken to the vet, the very next day, get a text from my youngest daughter who that in essence says, dudes, we have the wrong cat. And she's got pictures of a cat that looks a lot like our cat that somebody had sent her father. And so now we have, after 6 weeks of nothing, in less than 24 hours, now we have 2 gizmos. Two.
Not one.
Not one.
2.
And so we confirmed with the vet that the gizmo at the vet was not Gizmo, and ultimately got the cat that we now, the new Gizmo on Friday, and that was Gizmo. And that Gizmo is now home. He is here with us now. So it is a happy ending. And not Gizmo found his home as well. His mom picked him up from the vet too. So yay, happy endings. However, for about 24 hours, it was the epitome of a cluster
Mess.
Mess. Yes. Yes. Filter engaged. Yeah.
You know, so somebody asked, one of our Facebook friends asked, how do you not know your own cat? And so my learning
Legit
from
question.
that, yeah. So my learning from that, having never lost a cat before,
Right.
and had one go from being a house cat to a outdoor cat out on its own in the cold, cruel world. So when we saw this cat, number one, we had a friend who knew what our cat looked like call us and say, I think it's your cat. So she planted the idea that this was our cat. We get there
It's her
and we
fault.
see, I'm not blaming her. I'm telling.
kidding.
So we get there and we see this animal that looks like the colors of our cat. It looks like it's been through hell and back, which, okay, so in my mind, what's a cat that's, you know, that's a nice fluffy fat cat usually in a house? What's it going to look like after it's been out in the wild for 6 weeks? It's going to look like this cat. You know, the great sleuthing that ultimately got us to say, you know what, that might not be our cat, was when Barb, you looked at the pictures of the cat that we rescued and a picture of our cat, and you're like, this cat has a pink nose and your cat has a black nose. I'm just saying, I don't think it's the same nose. And what was interesting about that was when we got the cat, I looked at the cat and I saw it had a pink nose. And I didn't remember ours had a black nose, but I looked at the nose and I thought, is the nose scraped or is it, you know? So I think we wanted it. Number one, we wanted it to be our cat. So we saw what we wanted to see. We made up stories. So because the cat very quickly came to Michelle when we went to get it, when she bent down to pick it up, it came right to her. So that was more evidence to us. It must be our cat. It didn't go to anybody else, but it came to her. Right. So we had all kinds of stories and validation as to why this was our cat, and it wasn't anything close to our cat. That cat had only been out for 3 days.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I don't know what it looked like before it got out, but it looked like it had been through hell. So that was my big learning was, am I seeing the things in my life? Am I seeing the things that I want to see, or am I seeing things as they really are? And is my perspective skewed because I want to see what I want to see? That's what I got out of it.
So my learning from the whole thing was actually something that Barb had mentioned that I didn't. So I knew, but I didn't know. I was very pumped and happy and excited when we had found Gizmo and started my day that way. Then I got this text saying it's not Gizmo, and my vibe just plummeted. And so, and it wasn't that I was crabby per se or unpleasant necessarily. I was just somewhere else, because now I had this cat that wasn't mine. It's at the vet. I'm going to be into this cat financially. And maybe this other cat is ours, but no one has that cat either because he hadn't been caught. And so it was just a whole rigmarole of stuff that I let affect my vibe up and down, up and down, up and down. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy. It was crazy. And so what I took from that was the vibe or the effect that external sources have on my vibe is completely up to me and absolutely 100% under my control. And yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to add.
Yeah, it's so yay that Gizmo is home and he looks so happy in the pictures I just saw right before I hopped on. And the fact that you said that he had lost weight, I was a little surprised.
Gizmo 2.
This is what we got at the vet. They were numbering the gizmos at the vet. Gizmo 1 and Gizmo 2.
Gizmo 2 fake.
That is so funny.
Yes. Anyway.
So I'm certainly happy for the happy ending. And one of the things that I want to talk about tonight as we go on is that whole internal versus external, what raises our vibration. And one of the things that we talked about this last weekend in our Evolve class, and we talk, actually probably say in every class, is happiness is an inside job, right? We've all heard that saying, but what does that really mean? And this just was such a perfect example for me in that moment. There was such a display of happiness in that moment when the second gizmo was recovered, and it got me thinking about myself. So that's really where I went first, was what really is bringing me joy. And so when I talk about choosing joy, it's so important to practice choosing joy in everything, right? So it's easy to choose joy when Gizmo 1 and Gizmo 2 both show up, but when Gizmo 1 we're not sure, then all of a sudden the vibe goes down because there's things going on. And with that, that's not bad, right? It's not saying that something's wrong, because in that moment there was a real true emotion that it was like, well, wait, what's real here, and is this really my cat, and all that stuff. So all of that emotion is real. And the piece that I would like us to stay connected to, though, is once we process that, if we stay stuck in that emotion and now we're worried about, am I going to foot the bill for the cat, or am I ever going to get the other cat? All I'm doing is telling myself the same sad story over and over and over again, lowering my vibration, lowering my energy. And as a result of that, I'm actually now causing more contraction, even in the energy in the universe, to get the stuff that I really want. And we do it to ourselves all of the time. And so I was telling these guys this weekend, for me, when I look at emotions and really understanding that emotions are good, and I was an emotion stuffer for a big chunk of my life. I thought emotions were bad. And I think there's a whole population out there that thinks emotions are bad. And I would love to hear, so comment please on Facebook, what your thought is about emotions. What I've learned is if I stuff my emotions at the most inopportune times, they're going to come right back up and it ain't going to be pretty. And so it is much better for me to let that emotion go through me and feel it. Once I've done that, though, if I continue to feel it over and over and over again, which I certainly have in my life, that is me just retelling that story again and again and again. And recognizing, and so the key is practicing our leadership, which is recognizing the story. And if the story is not benefiting us, write a new story. Because we have just a certain amount of energy available to us in the course of a day. And we are at 100% at choice about how we expend our energy. Are we expending it on the things that we don't want or we don't like? Or are we taking it, focusing on an outcome and actually creating the momentum to go get the things that we do want and we do like? So it was just a great example of that. And it's one for me to keep in front of me is, am I choosing joy not only when it's easy, and am I raising my vibration and using my energy purposefully when it's not as easy? So would love to hear comments on Facebook for that. And I want to address Rhonda.
Yeah, Rhonda had a question.
Yeah. She said, I'd like to hear a conversation about not feeling heard, specifically at work in a culture of coaching. And I don't know if I completely understand the context, Rhonda, so you may have to jump in here and give me a little bit more help. What, and I don't know if because it's a culture of coaching, if there is if it's part of the culture that people are heard and are given a voice. What I can offer is the one thing that I know about all of us as human beings is it is really hard for us to hear anybody else until we have felt heard. And we see examples of that all of the time. So because we tend in conversation and relationship, we tend to have our truth, right? Our truth, and they have their truth. And now we're right fighting to defend our truth. And even if we're coaching somebody, and so it really depends on the context of coaching too, right? So sometimes that's just telling people what to do, depending on the true culture, is somebody is likely not going to hear coaching until you have given them the opportunity to express how they feel about the situation. Because they're just going to shut down and they're going to fight about whatever that is. And if you give them the opportunity to talk about whatever it is that happened or explain or whatever they need to do, they are more likely able to then listen to what you have to say. Now, I will give you my own take on this as well. As a person, if I'm the one doing the coaching, quite often I've already done a mind read about the whole situation and what I'm coaching this person on and exactly what's going on with them. And if I go in with that attitude, I'm not going to hear them, and I'm not even probably going to ask for their feedback. Versus the first thing that I suggest that we all do in any situation where there might be a potential conflict or a conversation that needs to be had is we sit down and we just ask a whole bunch of questions. Because more often than not, when I do that, I learn something that I didn't know, that there's something else that's going on with that person, right? That I wasn't aware of. And a lot of times people will not tell us what's going on with them unless we ask. So there may be a reason for whatever behavior is showing up. And once I understand that, and they feel like I care and that I have heard them, then I can address better what the real issue may or may not be, and I can address what that is, and they likely can hear me. So I don't know, Rhonda, if that is helpful at all.
I asked her, I texted her and asked her for a little more specifics. And what her comment was, leadership is focused on moving people to next level. It doesn't really focus on the here and now. And it's a situation of her being coached, not doing the coaching.
Okay. So say the first part of that again.
Leadership is focused on moving people to next level and doesn't really focus on the here and now.
Oh, interesting. So they're not doing in the moment even what we need to, what's going on right now.
And then and I'm guessing on this one and then she's not being heard about her thoughts currently.
Right, about what's going on right now.
About what's going on, yeah.
Cool. And what in that particular situation, it would require a lot of courage, which I know you have, to go and almost do some upline coaching. So coaching up in terms of, hey, this is the situation. And so setting an appointment, I need 30 minutes of your time, whatever it is. And this is what I want to talk about. And it may require to actually tell that person that you need to be heard. And I don't know that the environment, if it is a coaching culture, even asking specifically for that coaching, and asking for what you need. So that can be tough. And what I would offer you, Rhonda, if you've done that, change your approach, and keep asking until you get what you need. Because that's the other thing out there is sometimes we'll ask once and it doesn't happen. And we're like, okay, well, that's not ever going to happen. And one of the things that I know, I believe, we at High5 believe, I feel comfortable speaking, is if the approach that you're using isn't working, change it. Because when we change the approach, we at least create the opportunity to get to the outcome. And so set up an appointment, send an email, hunt them down in the hall and do whatever you need. It's just, and have the courage to point out that that's part of coaching. I would also say, especially in a corporate environment, if you're not getting what you need, then it's important. I mean, if one of those changes of approaches is go to somebody in HR to get what you need as well. That's what those departments are there for. And making sure. So I'm hoping that was helpful.
You got some
Thumbs
bubbles,
up.
some thumbs up bubbles.
Okay.
So from her. So I'm thinking it did.
Awesome. All right. Well, and welcome to all of our other folks as well. And I would love to know anything else that you guys would like to talk about tonight. The talking about raising our vibration. The other thing that I want to, so that's a big one. So one of our key messages at High5 is raise the vibe. And so what does that really mean? And it really is all about energy. And so often we let other people's energy control ours. We walk into an environment, and if people are not happy, so a lot of Monday morning, right? The Monday morning meeting, and everybody's like, nah, I don't want to be here. And we don't want to stick out, so we just join that. And we let their energy dictate our energy. And then we talk about, how bad it was. And what I will offer you is be the energy. So be the energy that changes everybody else's energy. And you know what? The first few times you walk into a meeting and everybody's all blah, and you're like, yay, let's do this, and bring some excitement, they're going to be like, yeah, whatever, what's up with you? And if you keep doing it, people will be attracted to that. They're either going to be totally attracted to it, which most will, or they're going to want to never see you because they want to stay in their negative pity party, and that's okay. You are 100% in control of whether you let somebody else's energy dictate or yours, or you choose yours. And all I'm going to offer you is, if you have a story that somebody else's energy is creating a problem for you, that's your story, and it's not on them, it's on you. And most of us do that. And so it really is about choosing how you show up. And yeah, so Annie, yep, being the energy is so much more fun than not. Love it, love it. So you be the biggest energy in the room. All right.
So we got.
We got a, do you see?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, so Dominic, the Oaxacas are on board
On
tonight.
fire tonight.
On fire tonight. Dominic asks if there's any such thing as unconstructive criticism.
And my response to that is, isn't criticism the unconstructive kind? Right. I think what he's getting at is, we say that it's constructive. I want to give you some constructive criticism, meaning I'm going to give you some pearls to live by.
Yeah.
And you're going to, it's, as we know, it's just information, right? So if it's framed as criticism, it's all going to be heard from a negative perspective, right? And so when people say, I want to give you some constructive criticism, what they really want to give is feedback that they think will be helpful, right? But the word criticism is just, it shuts it down. Yeah, it shuts you down because nobody wants to be criticized or judged.
And it's really on the, so it's on the part of the receiver.
Yeah.
So if I hear it as criticism, I will never benefit. If I hear it as feedback, so it really even doesn't matter. So I have two things I want to say. It really doesn't matter what they call it. What matters is how I receive it. And the beautiful thing is, so Dominic's question was, is there anything as unconstructive criticism? You are going to receive feedback in your life that's not helpful. You are. And it is up to you to decide what's helpful and what's not. If you get feedback from somebody that's not helpful because it's got their story attached to it or whatever that is, the best thing to do is just say thank you and let it go. If you now create your own story about that they're out to get you, or they've got whatever issue with you, now we're just compounding the situation. So take all the feedback, whatever anybody calls it, receive it, and then filter it. Can I benefit from this? If yes, great. If no, let it go. And it's only when we start to attach extra meaning and extra stories to the feedback that it becomes a bigger challenge. So that's great. It's a great question.
Another one from Michael Miller. Thanks for the value we provide. It's great stuff. His question is, in personal relationships, when is it appropriate to cut out relationships with people who you're tied to, like your father, your mother, your siblings, etc.?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And I'd love to know what you guys think as well. I'll start with my first question that I'm always going to ask in that situation is, what's the outcome? And it depends on the nature of the relationship and what exactly is going on, right? There are people in my life that are negative, that haven't figured some of this stuff out, and I still choose to have them in my life at a limited capacity because of the outcome that I have. So either it's if they're family members or have been around in my life for a long time and I have a tie, and I just limit that. And I let them be who they be. And I just know that that's what I'm going to get in that moment. If somebody really, and I actually told this story a couple of times in the last few days. So I had a really good friend, and when I was making a significant change in my life, she decided that she had a belief system that it was wrong and was going to even do an intervention with me. This sounds really way more dramatic than it probably was. And it was, there was no benefit for me to have her remain in my life. She was not a relative, so that was harder. What do you guys think?
You know, so Rachel asked a follow-up question to this. She says, isn't any relationship, if it's toxic to you, appropriate to cut off? I think the answer to that is it goes back to the outcome. Yeah. You know, and do you define relationships? Do blood relationships make a difference? Does it matter whether it's blood? If the person is being toxic, does it matter if it's your mother or your brother? It's what's my outcome, right? Yes, I want to have positive, supportive, fulfilling relationships with people that are my blood relatives. But if they're shitty human beings and they're not contributing in any positive way, then my answer is much like yours. I'm just going to very much limit my exposure to those situations. And, you know, I'm gonna be who I am, and I'm gonna be as positive. And I'm going back to the prior conversation, I'm going to be the bigger energy. I'm going to be the more positive energy. And I'm also going to set boundaries. I think the biggest thing that I've learned in those close familial relationships, it's about setting boundaries. And just because somebody is a family member, that does not give them free rein to run roughshod over your life. And the sooner you put up boundaries, like this is a boundary, and if you cross it, here's the consequences of that. So you got to learn to set boundaries. It's not okay for family members just to shit on each other and be mean and do things that you think are not okay. But if you don't set the boundaries, then that's not on them, that's on you.
Yeah, we teach people how they can treat us.
Yeah,
I love that, Kevin, and that was exactly the thought. Was boundaries, and so clearly right on track again. And I really love that saying, right? That people will treat us exactly how we allow them to treat us. Yeah. And so again, we can go out and, you know, say that this person is doing this and this to us, but have we set the boundary? And I'm all about creating family by choice. I have great family members as well, but I also have most of my family is not blood related. So yeah. Beautiful, great. I'm glad we answered that.
Yeah, Mike says that confirms his thinking, outcome and boundaries.
Beautiful. All right, anything else out here that we can talk about?
It's Aletha. Hi, Aletha.
So good to see all of you out here.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Love it.
So we had a really cool class this weekend. We had Evolve class number 3 and got to experience that with them. That was my second time in the Evolve classroom, and it was good to be back there. Oops, are we locked up? Nope. I got some great learnings, a couple of things that I'll share. I think I can share these. I won't attribute them to anyone, but we learned about being a beauty filter. I think that's very cool. So somebody said that they are going to be a beauty filter in the world. And what they meant by that was they're going to take in the negativity from the environment and reframe it and put it back out and turn it into something beautiful. And that was very cool. Another one, you'll see some hashtags coming from me. I've already done it a couple times. Stun them with love popped out.
We actually have the creator of that on here tonight.
He's on here.
Yeah. Mr. Jeff
Shahosky.
Yeah, sorry. So Aletha called out to Michelle.
Hi.
Nice. Hi, Aletha.
Hi, Aletha.
But yeah, stun them with love, and that one hit me right? That why is it that we have to stun people with love? Why aren't we just stunned by their negativity? Why isn't love the order of the day? And that when it's not love, that's when we get stunned. But
Right.
I love that idea of just overwhelming people with love.
Yeah.
And then we also learn that when you peel a banana from the bottom instead of the top, the bottom of the banana is called.
Look at her face.
Yeah.
Look at her face.
It's called a special name that I'm not going to say, but it rhymes. It rhymes with. It sounds kind of like a particular kind of a cow, like an Angus, like a banana Angus. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And when you come to evolve, we'll fill you in on that. Jeff said that he applied for a trademark on
Yeah,
on
too
them.
late. Too late. I got you under the gun on that one, brother.
So we aren't using it anymore. No, we'll give you full credit for that, Jeff. So
Kenny Horsack.
he's helping out with some of it as well.
Yeah, it is.
Planetary. He's giving
Planetary rhyme words.
That
Awesome.
was hilarious. You need to watch this back and look at your face, Bimo. When he started going down that path.
It actually wouldn't have bothered me to know. I was just laughing. I'm actually cannot remember exactly how to say it because it rolls off her tongue so well.
Yeah.
So
we can.
Anywho.
Anyway.
So what was striking to me, so we had people in the class, some that had not been in this style of a class for almost 15 years. We had some that were in their first class 5 months ago. And just watching the reconnections and the willingness of people to look in the mirror, literally and figuratively, and make different choices and to do what the class is about, which is loving themselves, loving themselves, loving their lives. It was a beautiful thing.
There was some amazingly touching transformation, connection, etc. that went on there.
Yeah, it was definitely a special weekend, and we had people that were Discover grads from even before I did.
For me.
Some of the Discover training. We had Platinum leadership grads, and we had High5 grads. And what was beautiful about that is whenever you do that kind of deep transformational work, it creates a shared experience. And so they came together, and even though they hadn't all been just through High5, because they had that shared experience, it was like they immediately picked up where that experience left off. And it didn't matter if it was 5 months or 15 years ago. And I absolutely love how well that works. You know, one of the things that, the High5 intensive, right, is the 3-day class, and it ends usually on a Sunday, depends if we do a weekday class, but whatever the day 3 is. This picks up right where that is. And so now it's not, you haven't had a 3-day class, you've had a 5-day class, right? And it just adds on top of it. And you know, this is the class of that really, for me, will constantly be evolving. It's been a little bit different every class, and that is because we constantly evolve. Mm-hmm. And so whatever we can bring into it to make it that much richer and that much better for folks, that's what we're going to do. And we're working on class number 3 and High5 Adventures, and you know, we'll keep evolving that way as well. And the biggest part of that is it's not over at day 3, and it's not over at day 5, and it's not over ever. And that's why we say just getting started. It's important to understand that this is lifelong. And we would love to have everybody come to Evolve, but you know, read a book, listen to podcasts, do whatever every single day to work on yourself. I just started a brand new class today. It's actually the guy that's facilitating is out of the Netherlands. We got people from all over the world attending this class, and it's on integral theory, spiral dynamics, and it's a certification that I'm doing, and always working on that. Kevin's going to a 2-week certification here in a couple of weeks to become a master practitioner for NLP, which is a lot of the foundation of stuff that we do as well. So we're going to keep bringing you the best of us in everything that we do. And the Evolve class is about walking away saying, I love my life. And a lot of us probably said that even before we did that. But what does it look like to love your life at the next level? And love your life at the next level after that? And love your life at the next level after that? And all of that work. So we started with happiness as an inside job. As long as we're looking for something external to make us happy, it's going to be fleeting. The only thing that says I can maintain that state of joy no matter what happens is when I do the work inside. And that relationship is the relationship with myself. And so working on truly loving myself is the work that has to be done. And, you know, it's kind of scary, right, for corporate speak. It's like, oh, we're going to work on loving ourselves. So, but you know what? That's what it's about, because that's what creates the relationship. And then we get to do all sorts of cool tools and skills that support that. Right. Good.
For sure.
Yeah. And Annie, you do a great job of keeping up on stuff. I listen to podcasts and, you know, just motivational videos. So stay connected with us, and we'll wrap up here. Stay connected with us on our High5 Momentum. If you're not out there, please just ask to join and we'll add you. It's just a positive community. We got people posting positive things out there all the time. And we invite you, if you have a positive motivational video that you love or a positive quote that you love, please share it with the community. And that's the kind of stuff that we are committed to putting out into the world, because we know energy and action follows thought. So the more we put that out, the more we raise the vibration and we create more positive in the world. And the first world that we need to change is our own. So how we think and how we surround, or how I think and how I surround myself with the positive, that's what's going to be super important. So
lots of great longtime friends on here tonight. I didn't let you notice I didn't say old friends because I don't want them to think I'm calling them old, but names I haven't seen for a while. So thank you for joining us. It's always fun to see the names of our friends, people that I miss from Houston and surrounding areas. So thank you for being with us.
I actually want to throw a shout out to one of my friends here in Brookfield, Gina McCabe. She's on for the first time, I think. She's been, hi Gina. Thanks for joining us. We're birthday twins, actually. We became friends a few years ago, and then that time learned that we were birthday twins, although she's substantially younger than I am. Anyway, yeah, she's on. And
she just had a similar experience at another company that does training like we do. Yeah. And so, yeah, absolutely. You know, that was really the really cool thing to me. And I actually made that comment this weekend. You know, we had High5 people, we had Discover people, we had people from Caliber Platinum. I said, the only thing we're missing is somebody from Rapport. And if you've been through all the Rapport stuff, then you're eligible to come to Evolve too. So it's all the same, foundationally the same kind of training. So yeah, welcome.
It is. I'm laughing. Jeff just said, I'll license my Marco Polo bananas video to you.
Oh, you've actually already done that, my friend. You signed that consent and waiver. All your images are ours.
Oh, that's great.
We own you, at least electronically.
Let's not scare anybody. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Love all y'all. And we'll wrap it up for tonight. We're back here every month doing this.
Fourth Tuesday.
We love to do it. Now we do have something to invite you to
Question
on
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, 3:00 my time, which is Pacific time. So that'd be 5:00 Central. We have one of our intensive graduates, Leanne Erie, who is going to be talking about her High5 intensive experience. And she actually went through one of our one-day classes before she went through the intensive with her company. And so she'll talk about that tomorrow. So we'd love to have you join us and answer questions. And we can certainly have her give her view on that experience as well. Oh, and Chris, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Chris.
Hey.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
You got anything, Adam?
No, it's good to be back for at least one day, time allowed. So
Yeah.
between school and work and all that other fun stuff, adulting becomes fun.
Yes.
Well, good to see you, brother.
Yeah, it was good. It was great.
It is good to see you. All right, one day at a time. Choose joy and be love.
Be love.
Be love.
Love yourself.
Love yourself. Love your brothers and sisters, and spread some positivity in the world. And when you change your world, you change the world. All right, guys. Have an incredible night.
Go adopt a cat named Gizmo.
There's a lot of them out there.
The great Gizmo Caper of 2018. All right. Love y'all.
All right.
Love y'all.
Have a good night.
Bye.